Hello, everybody. Evan Irwin here with Nicholas Sabin and Matt Thorne here at StarCityGames HQ, and we have a very special Commander preview to share with you that Wizards gave to me. They gave me a pretty spicy one.
Yeah.
But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sort of explain Commander to you. That's a new product from Wizards. It's coming out soon. It will have 5 100 singleton decks, 5 100-card singleton decks. They're $29.99 retail. They've actually started to go above retail because they're amazing. Including things like Soul Ring in every deck and Lightning Greaves in every deck, and that's almost like $12 to $15 worth of value right there. They have awesome reprints in them, like Brainstorm and Fact or Fiction and Shriek Maw and good gosh, also Garrick Wildspeaker and all sorts of cool cards. But today we're talking about my official spoiler, which is Ghave, Guru of Spores, which is a white, green, black, and 2 colorless legendary creature. He is a fungus shaman. His ability says, or his rules text is that he enters the battlefield with 5+1/+1 counters, 1 mana, remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control, put a 1/1 green sapling onto the battlefield, 1 mana, sack a creature, put a +1/+1 counter onto target creature. Now, this guy... Nicholas, tell me about this. Now, I am not a Commander player, so I have brought, to preface, I have brought these fine gentlemen here who spend a lot of time in the 100-card formats. I want them to tell me what this card does because my mind is blown, and then listen to you guys talking about my mind is blown. So tell me about this card.
It's incredibly versatile. I mean, you have black, white, green, which is a very popular color combination. It gives you a lot of answers. It gives you all the good removal spells, Mortify, Putrefy, Wrath, Damnation, etc. And because you have so much flexibility in what the cards... abilities provide, there's a lot of really interesting interactions with various cards that are already Commander stables. Just get completely absurd.
Such as?
Well, let's see. Suture Priest, Essence Warden, Soul Warden, just constantly gaining life and gaining more life. And at the end of every turn, it says pay 2, make a creature, sack a creature, gain a life. Sure. It combines very well with Fecundity, which not a lot of people play, but being able to have...
Should.
Yeah, obviously should.
Seems totally sweet.
Yeah, having a sack out where you can be like, make a dude, sack that dude, draw a card. Make a dude, sack that dude, draw a card.
The other thing to look at, though, is the card's not really just based around creating tokens. It's also kind of, I don't want to call it a super Ravager, although it kind of feels like a Ravager. You take counters from anything and move them to anything. It's not just, I'll sack a bunch of artifacts and eat them onto my Ravager. It's, I could maybe sack a couple of dudes and make this dude bigger, and then I'll sack that dude and make this guy bigger, and then... I mean, I haven't seen a guy printed that makes combat math more complicated in years.
Wow. I mean, like, in particular, the whole table worth of combat, right?
Like everything.
You're just like, I'll put one here, and I'll put one there, and then I'll make a dude, and I'll block a thing, and I'll sack it again.
And then all of this before combat, and like, maybe you'll attack a bunch of guys, I'll make 4 dudes, I'll block, and then before damage... I'll sack them all, and I'll make this guy bigger and kill your guy, and then all of that is inside of the fact that you're making dudes, and dudes are leaving play and entering play. All the triggers that go on with that, like a Grave Pact trigger or
Pandemonium.
Pandemonium, God.
Whee!
That's way off. Evan.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Evan
doesn't play Commander.
No.
Pandemonium is good in Commander, though.
It's a fine card.
It's
not
great.
in this
just
deck.
not in this deck.
No.
So, Doubling Season.
Hey. This card's absurd. That card is worth so much money.
Doubling Season,
God.
as it was recently pointed out to me, Doubling Season is unimaginative. Obviously.
Someone perhaps at this table who also
might
plays
have
Commander.
said that earlier today. Doubling Season,
It's unimaginative.
Doubling Season is a ridiculous card with this general. You're going to make 2 counters, you're going to put 2 dudes into play, you're going to sack 1 dude and get 2 things. Anytime you're gaining more than the assets you're putting into it, that's a plus. I think someone at this table might have once said 3 dudes seriously. Yeah, it's not quite that good, but it's pretty ridiculous.
It's fine.
But, it's not just cards like Doubling Season this card synergizes with. Let's look at something like Protean Hydra. Protean Hydra, anytime a counter gets removed from Protean Hydra, you put 2 of them on the end of the turn. Okay, so I'll go, I don't know, after combat, I'll remove 3 counters from Protean Hydra, I'll make 3 dudes, maybe put 3 counters back on, the end of my turn, I'll put 6 counters more on it.
Whee!
There are also a lot of creatures who care about having counters on them.
The spikes.
I think the spikes from
Weaver,
the Exodus.
Feeder.
Yeah. I'm sure there's something busted going on with spikes, and they're adding or removing counters.
Well, the really good thing that Wizards did with this product is they solicited a lot of outside feedback. I mean, obviously, Commander is something that's very popular internally at Wizards, but they also talked to the Commander Rules Committee. They talked to Sheldon Menery and Gavin Duggan and got a lot of feedback from those guys. So these cards actually pay a lot more attention to the spirit of Commander rather than just, oh, I'm going to play Sliver Queen as my general and have my turn 2 combo and just be really non-interactive and boring. There's a card in the set that gives everyone but one person a 5/5 dragon.
Death by Dragons.
Death by Dragons, which is just, when I read that card, I was like, okay, powerful, but more so hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, I like you, you not so much.
Well, this is actually
No
a card that really
you.
gets into that. The Guru, you know, that you can put +1/+1 counters on any creature on the table. So you can just, I like to want to save this creature for you, this creature for you, as long as you don't hurt me, right? I mean, there's a very political aspect to the game.
Politics
Absolutely.
is more important in EDH than almost anything else. I mean, not being screwed on mana, playing good cards is important. You know, having a decent deck is great, but you've got to be able to play the table. It's not just my deck versus your deck. It's always mine versus you versus that guy versus this guy over here. And I might not know that guy. And I might not know what he's doing. And he could just blow me out of the water. But if he likes me, he might target that guy instead.
There you go. All right. So that has been our Commander preview for this week. I do appreciate Wizards of the Coast providing it. I thank you, Nicholas Sabin. Thank you, Matt Thorne, for your awesome input.
Always like the fatties.